delighted that you accepted to be on my podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
So
I don't know
usually-
why me, but it's an honor.
Usually, I let people introduce themselves.
Yeah.
So that I don't get their titles, the names, everything, what they do.
Okay.
So I'll let you introduce yourself.
All right. My name is K Ndilima, CEO, Skillsphere, MIDEA, and Think Inc. Passionate youth mentor, former basketballer, former team manager. Yeah, serial entrepreneur.
You stopped playing basketball.
I will never stop playing basketball. I'm still playing basketball, just not competitive.
You used to.
Yes. A1 challenge.
Yes.
Yes. A1 challenge player and then team manager.
Oh, you want challenge.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you also manage FIBA, the national team? Do you have a
Oh, I was former team manager for the Gazelles. Yeah. So I traveled with them for the previous AfroBasket. So it's nice to see that journey. Last AfroBasket, and then I'm also here for this AfroBasket. Yeah.
How is that experience like? Yeah, just take us through basketball.
It's first of all,
Because that's 10.
to be the team manager of the Gazelles, the previous AfroBasket, and seeing the journey in how they played in Cameroon and now in Kigali. I think I said this to Tukan Kabura the other day that we have come a long way. It's nice to see. It's been an amazing journey. We have grown in the game of basketball. The talent, even not just Uganda, but the talent all around with women's basketball has stepped up. There's something in the air, and I love to see it. So talking about the Gazelles, the players that are now hitting headlines and doing serious things were very young, raw players a couple of years. And it's good to see now that this is their time. This is the next gen time, and they're doing serious business.
So usually I see like the silverbacks, right?
Yeah.
The players are not young. That's
Yeah.
right. But the Gazelles are getting.
Yeah.
How is that? How come this time we are sourcing for no talent in the women?
Well, in regards to the recruitment process this time, I'm not too sure who was behind it, but whoever was,
And the
I'm happy. I'm happy for it because
Yeah.
I think this also should apply to both, not just to the Gazelles. Again, when we went for AfroBasket, I think as with Ahabu Albert, he was the Silverbacks manager. I was the Gazelles, and we had this conversation in Tunisia, and we said if we got the young upcoming players and groomed them for 5 years, the Fayeds of this world, they would be the ones playing AfroBasket now. And we keep those young players to keep consistently gelling and playing together. That AfroBasket, when you enter the bus to go to the stadium, you find a magazine on your seat that has profiles of the players of the different countries. I kid you not, Uganda had the oldest players. And the teams we faced off, Nigeria, all the other teams, the age group was between 19 and 25.
I've also seen the London team here is very young. I don't know. I've not seen the haters, but I look at them.
They are young. They are young. And I think that's the way to go. First of all, we need to understand that this is their time. It really is the next generation's time. There are a lot of things that come into play. Facilities, one. Nutrition. We are not a beefed up. In this tournament, we are the youngest and at the smallest team. I'm sure you've seen.
Yes.
But if you check their ages, you'll find that their ages are the same as ours. But many things come into play, like I've said. The facilities, their conditioning, their nutrition. We don't have nutritionists in Uganda
But
who guide our teams.
team,
Mhm.
these solutions have not been presented.
They have. The question is, have they been executed or implemented? These suggestions have been there for years. Yeah, but There's some things you have no control over. But again, back to facilities. Look at where we are right now. To get to this point, you are motivating people to enjoy the game of basketball and actually play it. The return on investment from just this facility can tell you that this is going to grow the game of basketball. Yesterday, I had a chance to play pickup basketball with Ugandans at a community court.
Yeah.
And I was wowed by the fact that we found 90 to 100 young people on that court.
When I was trying to find the community courts,
Yeah.
passed by, so I was asking from Nyamirambo.
Yeah.
Still found one Anna, but it's still red. It was packed.
Exactly.
You take it serious. Yeah.
Yes, and that's one of the 10 courts that FIBA has built in Kigali. So you ask yourself, why don't we have that?
I'm thinking you have some bit of it.
No.
FIBA is not investing that much.
You have to also show them that you are putting in the effort in this. Because otherwise, if it was like that, then everyone who would apply for a court would probably get it. So there are many things that come into play that you have to show for you to get such opportunities. So that you're actually interested in building the game of basketball with young people. Because yesterday I spoke to the coach who was teaching those kids, and I'm like, this is just amazing to see. And the Ugandans that were there for pickup said the same thing. They're like, is there any court in Uganda right now on a Monday afternoon that has 100 kids being trained the game of basketball? And the answer is no. And when I spoke to the coach, he said, what you're seeing here is happening in 9 others right now.
Yes, like past 2.
Yeah. So why would we get to a point before an international tournament where we're struggling now to find players, Ugandans that play abroad, if we had that pool of players that have been groomed from an early age? We wouldn't. We would actually have so many that we can't even, it's hard to choose 12.
Do you think the schools also should play a factor? We don't take that much when we're in school.
Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah.
I went to Nominal College, so basketball was a thing. Right?
Yeah.
They would somehow prioritize sports, but
Yeah.
it's not something people would pay that much attention. It's just a fun thing.
Yeah.
To inject it to.
Correct. The schools play a big role because if we're talking about grooming talent from an early age, half the time of your life you're in school,
Yeah.
and the other time you're on holiday. So I was also in Cambodia and I was scouted to play for A1 from Cambodia because A1 came to my school when I was in senior too. But also the fact that Sprite Nationals back then was an avenue to scout talent. No, that died. We don't have Sprite, and that was one of the.
My FNL died.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now FNL is more community and it's a mix.
It contributes, right?
It contributes, but why I like the element of school is that competition of schools also builds the game because there's bragging rights of, whether defending, okay, that time whether Sprite Nation was like champs, and that would be like, God, next year we have to come back stronger. We have to, and that would also entice the key decision makers of these schools to improve on the basketball courts. Before I resigned as team manager of A1 Challenge, I had the opportunity to work with an organization called AFC. Because one thing I loved about A1 Challenge was besides just playing in the league, we used sport to empower the youth in different capacities. We used to do outreach programs where we teach life skills, entrepreneurship, to groom a 360-degree young person. And we partnered with AFC to use basketball as a vehicle to change the mindset of the youth in agriculture. And so, as you remember how agriculture was taught in school, it was more of like, oh God, that boring subject.
Yeah.
And the youth today look at agriculture as just a peasant's. Agriculture is only for peasants.
Yet it's actually the backbone of the country.
But yet it's the backbone, and you and I cannot live without food. So they were struggling with how do we change this mindset and anything to do with the youth. if there's no element of sports and entertainment, forget it. So the concept note we came up with, the concept was, let's add something the youth love. Sport. In this case, we used basketball. So how do we use basketball as a vehicle? We ran the sessions. It was like 6 months in 6 districts. When we go and run this session, it's broken down this way. So a day begins from 9 and ends at about 6. And so an hour, like let's say 9 to 10, is a life skills session. Take a break tea, come back and do an entrepreneurship session, and then do an agriculture session, and then do a basketball session. But who was teaching the agriculture session? The A1 girls. Alongside AFC, we actually went back to school, like to refresher. Why? One, they relate with us, the young people. So when we are teaching it in the context of us, young people, they sort of get it, as opposed to the blackboard style. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Two, when we go to the basketball skills session, we used Greek terms to call drills. So if there's a drill we are teaching them, we call it an Greek term to instill agriculture in them. Yeah. But also tell them that sport is what brought us together, what brings these ladies together. And in bringing these ladies together, we also learn from each other, because the team of A1 then, we had CEOs, we had bankers, we had teachers, but we were that community that help each other. When someone is looking for a job, we had HR managers take you to the person who is an HR manager in their organization, and he or she, I mean, she would guide you on interview questions and stuff. If you want to start your career in marketing, Carol she has a digital marketing agency, so Carol will guide you. So we looked at it as that sphere of a team that will help you in that have different skill sets. So doing that for 6 months with AFC was a success. Their mindset was actually changed with that whole thing of, we can be as successful as these ladies.
Why isn't that
if we take this serious? Because after school is done, you don't have to take your brown envelope to look for a job. AFC give you a startup, seedlings and all this stuff to grow in your backyard. So when you're done with school, you can continue with this and have a bakery, have whatever you choose to do. Yeah. And we also had at Lugogo, at the end of that project, we had an exhibition where all these different schools we had gone to for 6 months came to showcase the different Greek stuff they had been doing, which was brilliant. And we had some ministers coming to see. So outside Lugogo, there was an exhibition. And then inside, we did now a mini tournament of all the schools that we had taught basketball. And guess what? Some of these schools we went to did not have basketball courts. We built courts for continuity of the game of basketball. And so that's how you grow the game. When we went to Iganga Girls and Tororo, there was no court. Nyakasura only had the markings in their dining hall. So we built an outside court too. Gayaza, we improved the court. What are we doing here? Continuity of the game and attracting more people to the game, because when they saw us doing this every weekend, there are people out there who are watching and said, we want to be a part of this. So it comes back to the point I'm saying of, it's a combination of many things. Facilities. People are going to have to see a lot of work being done, a lot of sprite tournaments, youth projects like that, to entice them to have more of those facilities in our country. I mean, what I saw yesterday, and if they're telling me it's happening in 10 other places, why wouldn't FIBA build the courts here? Yeah.
Totally makes sense. So what would you attribute to be the success? Because our team is quite strong right now.
Yeah.
What would you attribute that success to?
Well, I think I'm at loss of words when it comes to this Gazelles team. The fact that it's a fresh breath of air. I like that we have, like I said, used the young raw. That these guys were raw before they left to the US and these different places, and they've come back beefed up. When I say beefed up, skill, size,
this is a nutrition you want to
the right energy, exactly, because they're in places that have the right facilities, the right conditioning, and they are now just bringing that back here. It should be an eye-opener for the ones that are here locally, because we should not...
The whole team is based outside?
Not the whole team.
But 90%?
Not, let's say 70. Give or take 60 to 70%. Are not, because this is not the same team that played the AfroBasket qualifiers. I'm sure you know that. Yeah. This is this is a beefed up team, and beefed up nicely, right? The right size, the right positions and all that. So this just goes to show us that these people happen to get opportunities abroad. But if we only have in Uganda what they have that side, we can compete easily. Yeah, we cannot be this year that, yes, this year we are fighting. The netballers are fighting to have a facility in Lubowa, to use facility. These are sixth in the world. And I watched this clip on NBS, and I was like, something needs to change. They're in camp somewhere in Tinda, the Sheik rents, and they have to wake up at 6 a.m. and drive 1.5 hours to Lubowa to use a facility in Lubowa, because the MTN Arena is taken up by, I don't know which other sport. But this is what I'm talking about. So I am in Tinda. We are camping in Tinda, and we have to drive. The effect it has on the body, that distance, but I'm expected to perform at training. But all this is because of our facility. We don't have enough. And then even after they finish, then we also have the Gazelles having to go all the way to Lubowa to work out. Where are we going to Lubowa? Because we do not have those facilities.
Not in Tinda,
No.
I've seen the sports though, the soccer. I see a lot of tough pitches that have been set up everywhere. But I stay in Chanda when I'm...
Yes.
They're like 6 of them.
Yes.
Nigeria like 3, and Tinda they're like 4.
Yeah.
I don't see that for basketball. Is it because...
And that's private, FYI.
Yeah,
those are privately owned.
Like, why don't the private guys... Don't we have people with interest in the private sector?
Oh, well, again,
I don't know.
It's taking away from the fact that, is this private? The BK Arena?
No.
If we're going to grow the game of sport, I'm not saying the private people shouldn't, but it really starts with
the leadership.
Yes, it starts with the leadership. I mean, I've seen the toughs you're talking about, and I'm like, wow, like, because people have gotten tired of waiting.
Yes. And
it's okay if you have your money to do that, but we need to remember that it's going to get to a point where those private, it's a business. We want to make money. It's not to grow the talent per se, but I want to put a fee for you to bet so that I can make money out of it. But if we're talking about being able to compete and stuff, and having facilities where we know national teams have unlimited time in these facilities, now that starts with the government.
Now that the Gazelles is in such a space, right? And they're competing and they're making headlines everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you think that is going to drive in partnerships that then will drive in the money that will maybe entice the government to put up the same kind of facilities? Because I see the branding has also drastically changed.
Yeah.
I see social media is just buzzing up. I wake up on my timeline and all I see
Gazelles are trending
everywhere.
I hope so. You see, again, the effect of digital. You know what digital marketing does. And I think when everyone gets to make the noise, it opens eyes here and there. But that is never a guarantee that facilities are going to be built. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to things like, what's the budget for sports?
That is the question.
When we come down to the budget for sports, there are so many sports besides basketball. What chunk
goes to basketball? Was football fighting hard enough in your condition to push?
I mean, I believe they are, but it's a challenge if there's a small amount being allocated to sports. There's
so much.
There's only so much, and then there are so many teams. There are so many other sports that are not basketball. And this debate of why is soccer getting the most yet it's not going far will never end because they say soccer has the numbers. But it's just I don't know. I don't know what words to use, but I just think more needs to be put in. More than just the money,
Do you ever feel like
because the facilities,
sports from education?
correct. I've always thought, yeah.
One person focus on sports and see the value because it's interesting. The president is a big sports fan, right?
Yeah,
Bleed sports. When you look around this arena, there's sports all over.
exactly.
Sports and purpose. It comes around to support the game.
Yes.
Unannounced, right? Because it's just coming as any other fan.
A passionate basketballer too, yeah.
So do you think that is lacking? We don't have leadership.
Of course.
Interest in the sports.
I feel like yes to that, but also understanding people. There are very few that understand the business of sports. It's bigger.
Touch and the creative business, right?
It is. It would be so. I mean, just the BK Arena. If they could just give us a sneak peek of how much
They're getting
revenue
in.
Well, I believe they've not yet gotten the return on investment yet for building this, but enough.
Surprisingly, I was talking to a friend here who's an official. They told me they got the return.
And I'm not surprised because if you build a facility like this, you're attracting.
Exactly.
I'm sure you've seen all the ads running on the screens and all that. I mean,
we have up to Nike advertising, right?
Exactly. So all those are seeing bums on seats and are seeing potential in here and will pay whatever it takes to be a part of this. Now, our MTN Arena,
it's crazy. When you go to
will not
attract
exactly, will not attract that. So we have to, we just have to invest in sports. The private people are going to still be there, but we have to, if we want to get backing from other partners that have similar objectives, we have to first show that we are interested in growing the game. It starts with us to show that, but if there's nothing we're doing about it and just waiting for the league to go, we're going to stay at that level.
And the fan base, do you feel like it should contribute more to supporting the game so that maybe the leaders wake up to noticing that there's a tension beside?
Where are the fans not? Why do you think they're not? The fans, exactly. I mean, you watched AfroBasket qualifiers. We are letting in people. The place is full to the brim and people are sitting on the line. Can you ever see that here? Because that's even dangerous. You can have such a terrible accident.
When we're getting in, I almost suffocated, right?
Exactly. There are people who are getting attacks in there and just losing their breath. Like, that's enough to show you this needs to stop. It's not even about the gate collections that are coming in, but we need a bigger facility. The fans have hunger for this game. How many Ugandans are here to watch the Gazelles? Many people have invested in being in this country to support because of the love they have for the game of basketball. People pay.
Love is there.
The love is there, but the honest truth is there are some that have fallen off because they're like, we're not getting better.
It's always the same.
It's the same thing over and over again. Same facilities. I went to the YMCA after a long time to watch the ladies' game 2 weeks ago, and there was no power for the first hour. JKL and I'm like, I haven't watched local basketball in a long time. Let me go and watch. This should be an interesting game. The game that was supposed to start at 6:30 started at what? 7:45, 8. We're still grappling with issues of Yaka and yeah.
You can increase from there.
Yeah, so I don't blame some people for saying, nah, let me go home. I'll catch it on NBA Sports if it's showing.
Yeah.
And then in that same breath, these are the same people saying, if we calculate how much money we've spent on entrance, but we do not know where this money goes, it's frustrating. Here, there's a lot of, you see where money is going. I mean, I was talking to Arandi's friend, a lady who was telling me, you guys think the BK Arena is magnificent or beautiful. Wait to see what's happening with Amahoro Stadium next door. You think this is nice? Wait for it. So I'm like, they're giving us more. There's even more coming.
They are serious about it.
Yeah, and have we seen our sneak peeks of Nambole? Is it any different from what was there before?
I think.
So I think we need to accept that whilst we are trying, we need to have people who understand the business of sport and sport itself to get involved in this. It should not
be one of those people.
Huh?
Be like a solution to like go for leadership, especially because you have such a good you've been a player, you've managed, you now understand most of the issues of you're very exposed since you've been managing, you've been traveling with the team, so you've seen it all from all these other countries. Did you feel like you're best suited to
Well,
go for leadership and
in a different way. I've worked with FUBA before, I've worked with the national team. I mean, I've had my time with them there, and you asked me a question, why haven't these solutions been given? And I said they have. And if it's not working in your favor in that way, or maybe if some of these things are not being heard, you find different ways to contribute to the growth of the game of basketball. And that is why I started Skills Fair. So Skills Fair is it's more than basketball. It's a youth empowerment organization that is supposed to nurture a 360-degree youth. Where is it Skills Fair? We're talking sports, empowering or nurturing a youth around sport, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, mental well-being, all those combined. Because what we don't have, we have academies that are coming up. I'm sure you've seen so many players now have academies here and there. We have players in the league that have no career readiness or work skills. It has been basketball, basketball, basketball. But what happens when you mess up your knee and you can't play again? That means
took me off sports when I was in college. It was rugby. You had to get messed up, then your parents had to treat you, and it was expensive. So I was like,
besides that, we have a huge percentage of players who have decided this is all I'm doing as basketball, because now the likes of City Oil and teams in the league that have sponsors are actually paying salaries to players. So take a scenario of you're a player, you're a salaried player, I'm getting paid by City Oil. I do not need a job.
I can just do this.
Just play basketball. But what happens when you get that injury and your basketball career is dead? Can you actually get a job? Do you have the entrepreneurial skills to start something of your own? Can you work somewhere? My research and my time in basketball showed me that a huge percentage depend on on the game of basketball. 78% of our population are under 30. The number of jobs versus the number of people graduating do not match. So while sport is good and you can actually make good money from it, you need to have other skills. You're not going to be a superstar forever. But if you have entrepreneurial skills and your time with basketball is done, you can still use those skills to start
something
around the game of basketball, to carry on the game of basketball, training and all that stuff. But if you don't have an entrepreneurial mindset, it's going to die. I could name, I don't want to put names here, but we have some very key players that started academies and they're not there now. Ask yourself, why? This is what I'm talking about. You know the game of basketball, but do you know the entrepreneurial side of running the business? No, we do not.
So Skills Fair in this case
is nurturing young people from a young age. You see how I've been talking about Groom the young people. Let's not aim to win the championship today, but let's aim for the next 5 years.
Let's think further, right?
We think further. That's what I was telling you, the conversation I had with Ahabwe Albert in Tunisia, that if we just start young now, we're not aiming to win the AfroBasket in Tunisia, but we're aiming for the next one. And we had groomed those players and stuck with those for 5 years. I am 200% sure we would have crazy results. The team we have now with the Gazelles, if they stuck together for the next 5 years, we'll be champs. We are already giving Senegal 11-time champs hard time, and they've only gelled for 3 weeks. So what about 5 years? So if we use that same concept,
Are you saying they're not going to be together?
I'm not saying they are not going to be together. I'm just saying the way we've been doing it for the past couple of years is either weeks before the tournament,
We panel beat and just
exactly, and then patch up and glue. That's not how the other teams do it. I've been seeing players here that I saw in AfroBasket in Cameroon. They've stayed together for years, and that is why
one city.
exactly the chemistry is definitely going to be there. So I'm not saying what they did was wrong. I mean, we had to beef up, which was brilliant. But now we have to start grooming players. And I think this applies to not just basketball, every sport. Other countries stay with the same national teams for years. And while they're grooming the young ones, the skill spheres of this world are grooming these 4-year-olds, 5, 6, 7, to come and enter here.
Yeah, how's 4-year-old? I can
Skill spheres start
Sounds
from
great.
3 to 25.
Okay.
Because if you instill skill from that young age, exactly. It's even a verse in the Bible, train up a child the way you want to see them, and they'll not depart from that. Like, you have to start it. You're not going to tell a 30-year-old now
I mean, the brain
what
is
to
tired,
do.
the body
Even entrepreneurship, teaching someone now.
is crazy.
But I just completed a summer camp before I came here for 4 weeks of kids between 3 to 18. And when I gave the parents the program of what we're going to do, and they saw financial literacy, they said, "How are you going to teach my 5-year-old about financial literacy?" I said, "Wait, watch. Teaching them the aspects of money, piggy bank, the monies they give you, $7 tooth. You've lost a tooth, so
Right?
you have to instill it now." And I have videos to show that these kids learnt it. I used the concept of teaching them about money with cartoons. It's a cartoon series that talks about save, spend, donate, invest, and they got it. And I asked questions after. Cartoon series, short, 4 minutes, because remember the attention span of these kids. And at the end of this camp, they presented, and their parents were there to watch, and their parents were
How long
blown
does
away.
this take?
The summer camp was 4 weeks, because summer is the longest holiday for the international students. Sorry. Yeah, so we'd also have for the UNEB curriculum, their long holidays, December. So we'll have many of these camps. But for me, the idea is still contribute to the growth of the game of basketball, but through starting it young, and not just basketball, a sphere of skills. Because at the camp we did basketball, soccer, skating, and then added entrepreneurship, financial literacy, mental well-being. Because
mental well-being is also very
exactly. Yeah, because if you have a 360 young person that has all these key aspects, they are going to succeed. That if you mess up your knee in any sport, you still have the skills of starting something, entrepreneurship, you still know how to manage money, all those which are needed. You're not going to be young forever. And neither are you going to play basketball or soccer for the rest of your life. How many key athletes have you heard of? Even in soccer, I read all these stories. Oh, this guy was a superstar, but where is he now? In a hut somewhere? Not even, in like a small
so much money.
depression.
One mess up is enough to end that.
And they're doing all this fundraising. Let us fundraise for so and so, for for food.
And it's very depressing, right? For someone to be at that peak and they go back to zero. So the thing there is, when we were growing up, right, our parents had some mistrust with sports.
Yeah.
So they would intentionally stand on your talent because they didn't see the future there. It was hard for parents to accept that
Yeah.
your chances of becoming a successful soccer player, what? Okay, maybe now it makes sense. The Mbappes are getting crazy. FIs to do what they can. Steph Currys are very rich people.
Yeah.
But that was the thing. They're like, no, go do your education and
Yeah.
keep it out.
Yeah.
Nothing like sports or go do basketball. Because now that was the thing to me.
Mm.
And that was like, no, what are you going to do with basketball? Go get my degree, go get a job. I'll in fact teach you the job, and that is it. So you just have to do the things because your parents have to do them.
Correct.
They don't trust the sport. What are your opinions on something like that?
Very true. I mean, things have changed.
Yeah.
When I just joined the league so many years ago, because I was scouted in 2012, 2013, could count the number of teams then that were actually sponsored. I think there were not even 3. I still think that time it was City Oil was still down. It was Power, was D-Mark Power. And then Warriors was sponsored by. So they were not even, by the time we can't even, they were not even more than 5. Sport has grown that basketball has grown that it has attracted the crowds, and seeing events like Friday Night Lights and the league with huge numbers has attracted sponsors. Sponsors also want a return on investment. And so they're going to go where they can see that there is an audience for them to invest their money. So the sport has actually grown and attracted. I mean, that time we were sponsored by Airtel, MTN, and Airtel. It's unfortunate.
They fell out. They no longer come into the big guns.
Exactly. But what that meant is, that means when we have more sponsors coming in to sponsor different teams, it means the players are benefiting from this. Because if your team is sponsored, that means salaries, there's money, and all.
There's all this well-being. They can afford nutritionists.
They can now afford all that. Yeah. And now you're also being rewarded for your skill. Before, our parents looked at it as, and then what? So you play and then what? You're not even getting anything out of it. You just go and study. But now when it has started growing, I mean, even the local soccer clubs, there's now money.
There's money.
People are in
KCCA is crazy.
KCCA, yeah. Like there's now investment in it, and people are actually surviving off their skills. So it has changed from a couple of years, and I mean, it's growing and growing. We're not yet there, but there is progress. And the business side of it is also, people have gotten involved in being agents, and there's now a skill set that we are selling to people abroad and getting money. Uganda is talented, extremely talented, not just basketball, sports. I mean, look at our athletes. We have world champs.
Gold.
We have golds back to back. So the fact that that is growing, now parents are also starting to realize that, hey, my child could be the next so and so. And so they are seeing it now. And there is nothing as beautiful as seeing your child representing the country.
Okay.
Like,
so do you think this
the parent here,
Sphere is trying to answer as well?
exactly, that's what I'm saying. We are many that are doing it in a different context. We may have failed to do it with the federation, but we are still doing it in a different way. Mavita, who is the coach, the female coach of the Gazelles, she's sitting here. She's in Kigali today, and she also runs Score Beyond, which is, again, a youth empowerment organization that is empowering young girls and youth to score beyond the game of basketball. And in all this, we are recruiting and seeing talent that can still be passed on to the federation to improve the game of basketball. We're not going to hold on to these talents. Our job is to skill, hand over,
them shine.
because they'll keep growing. We're not going to stay with these same people. We skill you, we groom you, please go. Skill, groom, handover. Go and fly. Fly with the skills you've gotten from here. So I think the federations need to partner with these like-minded people, because collaborations over competition. If we work together, the impact is bigger.
I hear you.
I've been parents need to also be guided. I've been speaking to parents who are telling me, "Oh, now I've taken my child to here in Munyonyo. We don't have a place to take our kids. Carol, Fast Sports Fusion is far away. Driving from Munyonyo to Fast Sports Fusion every day is honestly." But now I saw a private court close by, and I took my child there, and I found a guy who says he's a basketball coach. So now I've signed up my child. I'm like, what's the name of this coach? We need to be able to have a platform where you can actually go and search if this is a certified coach. Because when I picked up the phone to call my people in Fuba, do you know this guy? No one knows this person. We need to understand that, yes, if academy is running here in Kigali, you can't just wake up and start an academy. You have to be a certified coach.
Yeah, you must.
You don't just say you're a coach of, yeah, like let us get our stuff together, because some of these people are doing it to get the quick buck. We understand that everyone wants to make money, but can we make money in a professional way? Can we have, I like that FUBA is doing a lot of coaching clinics. It's brilliant. But they also need to start getting involved in, is this academy registered? Who are the people behind it? We all have to be affiliated to the federation. Yeah. Like we can't not know a random coach who's teaching kids and is going to wake up and leave. This is why parents will say, now this guy had grown with my child and now he has disappeared. This is why I didn't want to sign up my kid. Can you blame them? Because there's no structure. I should be able to go to a site and say, I stay in Munyonyo. Like when you travel, you see, you search courts near me, and it will pop up coaches, the courts, and then coaches and their profiles. Do we have that?
So first, let's go into the technical bits of the team. What do you think is missing with the Gazelles team? Technicality, skill, your experience so far with the games you've watched.
Yeah.
Just give me an analysis of.
So,
and the women's team in general. I'll also ask you what's your favorite if you're not Ugandan.
So that's a very tough question, because to be honest, the Gazelles team for this AfroBasket has blown me away. From a person who watched last AfroBasket as the team manager, and then this one, I'm happy. Like whatever the result, this has just showed me.
Hope is there. Like, you feel like if all these things you're mentioning,
I just put together, because the things I've talked about have even nothing to do with them. They have played their part. The first game with Mali, you could clearly see nerves, understandably nerves. They were still a bit nervous and shaky here and there, and we had a few players that stood out and came and played. Otto, but majority were still getting into, okay, are we here? We're here. It was, and then of course there's the issue of that everyone was saying, the rotation and all that. Let me tell you, it's not easy being a coach. It's tough. People are complaining, but I think it's until you get into their shoes to understand that they also have strategies that they've sat down and drawn up. We have to respect their decisions. So for me, I can never fault a coach, because sometimes they sit down. When you see a coaching staff of more than 3-4 people, it's not a decision that has been made by one. They have sat on a round table to draw up a strategy. Sometimes as a coach, you draw up a strategy, it will backfire on you, not because of your strategy, but because of things like nerves. Things like a team hasn't gelled enough for a couple of weeks. We can't. The chemistry can't just come with weeks. It will be there, but it won't be like the other teams that have gelled. So you're trying your best to pick out the small things here and try and merge them. But either way, to answer you, I feel like this is such a solid team. We lost a very good guard. I keep forgetting her name, who got injured the very first training. I didn't get to watch her play, but I just heard she is brilliant, as a brilliant point guard. And to see that Babirie is not a PG, but because of circumstances, she had to pick it up and she aced it. That shows you the potential that we have if given an opportunity. Like, we have it. We just have to continue to groom these people and let them keep playing together. Our bigs, I have no comment. They are doing what they came to do. In the Mali game, our defense was actually from Uganda when we had the select team play the Gazelles. Our offense was okay. Our defense was a disaster. I gave this feedback to the coach. I'm like, no. Like, we need to fix it. And to see that change from Mali to Senegal, beast mode. This tells you we have it in us. We have it in us. We can. Like people saying, no, we're not going very far in this tournament. The upset has shown people that these girls can. Like, don't even hold back. They have the urge to fight in them. We've all seen it. They have the skill set. They have the right energy. To see other people taking charge on court and just being leaders, not that. So we have a captain who is a leader.
Yeah.
And then when she's off the court, we have other people taking on that leadership bit and taking charge. Shows that we came here to take care of business. So the guards, we have some work to do, but we have the potential. Evelyn, we've not gotten to see her showcase what she has. We know what she can do. Rita, we know what she can do. But like I said again, there's a strategy. We have to trust the coaches. So if there's anything I would add, no. I'm not saying I trust the strategy. I'm just saying the team we have the right team.
Fine.
I think, like I said, if they gelled for more, would be better. But so far, so good. Yeah.
If you are not Ugandan, which one would be your favorite team right now?
Well, that's a tough one. Because the basketball I've watched this week, I've been switching between, okay, this is my fave. No, now this is my fave. But I love the Rwanda team.
I agree.
I love the Rwanda. If I'm not,
It's crazy.
It's anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm just passionate about young blood, and that being the next generation. It's not always about this particular tournament, but it's about this.
The future.
They're going to be bad news in the next couple of years. They're
just not tall enough, but yeah, they're good.
And I mean, they got to play teams that were taller and bigger than them, but they outsmarted those teams. So they have it in them. They have discipline. I mean, their game with Cote d'Ivoire, when people were watching them warm up, they were like, Bambi, this one, they are going to kill them.
That is it. That's what I had in my last.
Exactly. And when they came on court, they played beautiful. By the way, they play the most entertaining basketball in this.
Cares about it.
Yeah.
Play the most
I mean, that day they played, the first game they played, Gazelles had played before them. And someone told me, how can you tweet about Rwanda before your own country? And I was like, it's not even, it's just.
It's the emotion you get when you're in that arena to see them.
How entertaining and love, the gelling, the discipline. When Cote d'Ivoire noticed that they were outsmarted by Rwanda, they decided to go aggressive on just violence, for lack of a better word. Like, they just were fouling and playing harsh, you know. And these girls, I remember seeing two of the girls that were off-ball fouls, you know, had elbows to the lip, to the down, injuries, swollen lip. They don't even come back to shout, insult, or anything. They get up and play. For them, their rhythm keeps on. It is us, we are not going to talk back. We are going to perform. We are going to go and score. You know, as women, we have
culture here.
exactly. It is come. Let's go. For us, we have other teams have that thing in them here. Actually, all the other teams. You give me a random elbow, I'm going to go. It's almost a fight, and they're holding you back. Rwanda. And then besides that, they play beautiful transitional basketball.
You want to watch them play. That is it.
It's entertaining. It's just nice. It's a fresh breath of air. Like whatever, however far or wherever they stop in this journey, they're my favorites. I would watch them any day. They are lovely to watch. And even if they're still small and stuff, they are going to be that team to watch out for. The next couple of years, they are. When they've beefed up size and all that, the skill set is there. The discipline is there. They have it. Yeah, so that's my fave.
So
after Uganda.
Like a brief explanation, what's your experience like for this year's AfroBasket Women in Kigali? Like generally the space, atmosphere.
Amazing, electric, mouth-watering games back to back. You know,
you have some work to do.
Yeah, you forget you have to go home soon. Like it is. We were joking about this with a couple of Ugandans, saying, I said, guys, after this week, it's going to be very difficult to find me at the YMCA. Because it feels like a downgrade of basketball. Like what we have watched. I mean, by the time BAL is introducing BAL for her, women, your question is being answered. Women's basketball has stepped up. We're having men filling up the arena to watch. Usually, all over the world, women's sports, you do not have crowds. This place is filling up because there's quality basketball happening here. When I watched AfroBasket in Cameroon, this is different. It is the teams I watch, they are here. Mali, Cameroon, Senegal, they're here. But it's a fresh breath. It's different. It's completely different. You don't want to miss a game. I mean, today's game is at 9 p.m. We're in the arena at 3.
That's such
like you come in, we don't have other things to do in Kigali. There are many things to do. But where are we here? Even the men are seeing quality basketball.
That's okay.
Like we're going to be here until 11. That's to show you it's electric. It's their mouth-watering games. They're upsets there. You don't even know what to expect. Like Guinea beat Angola. Whoever thought? So it's just upset after upset. It's to show you it is not a walkover. It's not, you can't predict. Even us, the Ugandans, knew Senegal, however much we love our team, we are not winning that game. And they proved us wrong. Everyone's talking about the Guinea game. Guinea has been that team, every team has been beating. And then they reached Angola and they beat Angola. Like, this is to show you
that no one,
you can't predict.
Yes.
You don't even know who will win this now. There are upsets happening, and that's to show you that the game has grown. In Cameroon, you could predict in the first 2 days who are going to be the champs. Now you can't predict. And that is brilliant because that shows that the sport has grown. Yeah, the sport has grown. BAL is introducing BAL for her. Why?
Because they're seeing it.
The quality of women's basketball has stepped up.
So, now, you said that startup was skills.
Sorry?
The startup was skills for her. Your startup.
Skills Sphere.
Skills Sphere.
Yeah.
Then MIDA.
Yeah.
What does MIDA do?
MIDA is a digital marketing agency. I started it in 2012.
Are you branding sports?
Am I branding sports?
What the Gazelles? Digital marketing.
Oh, no. Well,
Why aren't you partnering? Since you already saw.
If you see
Well,
the Gazelles, the people in there putting on Gazelles basketball, that's me. But that's Think Inc. So Think Inc. is an apparel company, mine.
Okay.
So of course I use my digital marketing skills to create the awareness. I am marketing the Gazelles.
Yeah.
But the branding, all the black shirts you see in there with Gazelles basketball, that's me. With this African touch, that's me. So
I happen to head marketing for Uganda Connect.
yeah.
This week the president has been launching a hub in Zambia.
Okay.
It didn't go because my passport is held up somewhere at TLS. But one of the things we're trying to achieve is some sort of identity. You see what the Rwandan thing has, the jersey that has this, and you see it.
Yeah.
So now that I see this is something we want to do.
Yeah.
With like just now the jerseys, the products, whatever we're exporting, so that someone can just tell that it's from Uganda.
Correct.
And I see you already doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, if you walk in there, every shirt you see with the Gazelles basketball is me, with this African touch. It's me because
It's going to be continuous with some sort of identity. I feel like that's something big. Yeah?
I mean,
we need it.
yeah. If I'm already, we're in talks with the management and stuff to have an identity, because Gazelles Silverback, it needs to be a brand. Also, it is MIDEA that designed the Gazelles and Silverbacks logo. It is me, my digital agency, that designed the logo, ran the digital marketing for a while. So yes. So besides having other clients and stuff, the fact that the CEO has passion for basketball, I also said we need to apply the same
What do you think about
marketing.
the future of digital marketing and AI now?
It is the future. We have to embrace it. I mean, just what is happening with, someone tweeted the other day and said, you can think it's only the Gazelles right now. Like when you open your Twitter,
I agree.
all you see is, yet we also have the netball children
Yeah.
who are,
It's interesting.
Yeah,
yes,
but-
yes. There's the strength of the gazelle.
exactly. And why is that so? Digital.
And
How many
digital.
people are in here? How many people are in here tweeting their experience, taking pictures on that backdrop and tweeting their experience and saying, let's go UG, and coming up with all these different content strategies. Let's have our wallpapers with Gazelles, and everyone is talking about the Gazelles right now.
It's happening.
So if you're not embracing digital, I don't know what you're doing, because that's what's going to make decisions. You know, we're having the minister starting to tweet and see all these things because they're seeing all that's going on
I feel
social
like
media.
being or whenever they just get into it from just nowhere.
Sorry?
I always feel like they're being very hypocritical when they just come and attach themselves to the brand.
I'm not even going to get involved in that conversation because we'd need another day. Right.
Anyway, as we conclude this, so the noise is getting up. What
Yeah.
legacy? What sort of legacy are you trying to leave behind?
One that has contributed to empowering young people. How do I put it? Nurturing young people to succeed as 360-degree individuals.
Yeah.
That's the legacy. I'm passionate about youth empowerment, but in the context of a mix of different skills. Because, like I said, one thing may not go your way. In this case, sports, or that journey may end, but where does that take you? Does that mean your life ends? We're now dealing with mental well-being, where I'm sure I've read so many stories of soccer players that were bad news, paid lots of money, and then they end up in depression,
Yeah. That's so much. One divorce goes wrong and that's it.
and that's it. We have to prepare. My job right now, and I feel like it's my purpose because I'm passionate about young people, is
Yeah.
we don't want them to get to that point. Skill them now, nurture them now, and let them fly with those skills. I was skilled the same way with A1 Challenge. So I have to pass the baton on to the young people. Yeah? So for me, that's my legacy, that there will be stats on numbers of people who I'm happy to have empowered, that have carried on that, and it has a ripple effect, because if you're empowered, you're going to empower others.
Yes.
And that person is going to empower others. Yes.
So
So while we love sports, we shouldn't leave it without having empowered some people. When we do that, when I do that, my work is done.
thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Unless there's something you feel like we need to hit on that we have not,
I think
it's been really good.
we've touched everything. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
And I hope we can continue to use such platforms as yours to talk about things that impact
Someone will listen.
someone or impact the game of basketball or sports as general in our country, because we have the potential, we have the skill set, we just have a few things to fix here and there. And it needs all of us, not just the government, but the media, the fans, all key stakeholders to come together, put our heads together and make it work.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. And it's lovely.